Tough love is really an opportunity for you to get coached by me. Unfortunately, there's a bit of a one-way dialogue, but tell me what your biggest issues are. Tell me what your biggest concerns are. Tell me what your biggest obstacles are. And my goal with tough love is to really slap you around a little bit. It is to give you a little bit of a hard edge, but not by virtue of just wanting to punish you. Like, I want to create a little bit of a tension that will hopefully trigger some level of transformation and change. Yeah, tension really is the chemistry of change. And if you're surrounding yourself in things that make you comfortable, there's not going to be that level of tension that's required in order to, create that gestalt moment that's really going to push you forward and move you forward. So I'm going to be a bit harsh. I'm probably going to be a little bit of a foul mouth. But I please want you to understand this is coming from a place of love, because tough love is really what it says on the box. Life really does require us sometimes to be exposed to things that are a little bit harsh, things that have a little bit sharp to it, things that have a little bit of an edge, things that feel hot, things that feel bad. Because if we don't get exposed to those things, we don't develop a level of tolerance, we don't develop a level of resilience, we don't develop a level of grit that's required in order to succeed at the things that matter, because the things that matter are going to require us to push through things that are hard. So let's just kick on. Maddie, over to you.
Boom.
What have you got?
Natasha Robinson.
Natasha Robinson, how are you?
Why is it that I can tick so many boxes in every area of my life, such as 2 degrees, good parenting, work, etc., but I'm so bad at self-care? Putting me first is a challenge.
Look, it all comes down to values and priorities. You clearly just don't put a value on your own self-care. And frankly, it's fucking embarrassing, because as a parent, one of the things that you should be doing when it comes to teaching your kids is you should be teaching your kids the importance of taking care of self. Because here's the thing, what was her name again? It was Natasha. You're going to be completely useless to every single person in your life, especially your family, if you don't take care. If you fall over in a heap today, okay, if you get diagnosed with some kind of a terminal illness today as a result of you not taking care of yourself, who's going to win out of that scenario? Are your kids going to win? Okay, is your partner going to win? Are your friends, are your family going to win out of that scenario? Because all the while you're trying to help so many other people and we're not taking care of yourself, you're literally burning your battery dry. You're literally burning your candle at both ends. And sooner or later, there's not going to be any wick left, but there's going to be plenty of people who are still going to be wanting some of that light. So here's what I'd say to you, Natasha. Right now, you are the role model for your kids. You are setting the example for them of how they should be living their life. And not just in the current state and the current moment they're in right now, but how they're going to be living their life 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now. And my question to you would be, are you okay with being a martyr? Are you okay with teaching your kids to sacrifice self and to sacrifice self-care in order to tick all those boxes? Because it's great that you tick a box as a great parent. It's great that you tick a box, in all those other areas which give you a level of fulfillment. But if you can't tick the box of self-care, then there's a very high probability that your duration here on this planet, in this realm, in this dimension, is going to be limited by your ability to take care of self. But I'll finish with this, Natasha, because I fly a lot and I hear this scenario a lot. In the event of an emergency, oxygen masks will fall from the ceiling. Please make sure that you affix your oxygen mask first so that you can actually be of service to others. Because if you don't affix your oxygen mask first, chances are you're going to pass out before you can help anyone else. And that's the reality of the situation right now, Natasha. If you don't start taking care of yourself, the reality is when the time comes where people are really going to need you, you're not going to be able to, because you're going to be completely fucked because you burnt your candle at both ends and there's no wick left. Stop it now. Enough's enough. Time to take care of you is today. Fuck. Just so I said the word fuck. There you go. Get into it, Natasha.
Next up, Vanessa McCarthy.
Vanessa McCarthy.
I hate hearing my own voice on videos.
Me too.
Please help.
I'll fucking get used to it. Honestly, how fucking... First world problems. I hate hearing my voice on video. Do you know what? I fucking don't like my voice a great deal either. I'm a little bit nasally, a little bit twangy, a little bit twiny. I sound like I'm kind of had just a little hit of fucking helium or something. I'm not quite sure what it is. But here's what I know. Who gives a fuck what your voice sounds like? It's the message that matters. And when you're doing video, you've got to understand this is bigger than you now. What was her name?
Vanessa.
Vanessa, this is bigger than you now, Vanessa. Stop making this about you, because that's the embarrassing part. Oh, I can't do this because I don't look good on video. Oh, I can't do this because I sound bad on video. Fuck what you look like. Fuck what you sound like. Who are you trying to help? Are you doing this because you're trying to help yourself? Okay, or are you doing this because you're trying to actually help other people? Because this is the real litmus test. If you're doing this because you're trying to help yourself, then you're going to be embarrassed. You're going to be ashamed. You're going to feel guilt. You're going to feel all sorts of things around the things that you're going to nitpick the fuck yourself out of, right? But the reality is, if you have a purpose greater than yourself, then none of these things are going to matter, and that will be the thing that drives you. That will be the thing that strives you. That will be the thing that juices you up and fuels your engine that's required in order to do the things things at great levels, if you want to create a successful business or life or any fucking thing in general, any success is going to require a level of discipline and application for a thing, a purpose, a movement that is going to be greater than you. Stop making it about you. It's fucking embarrassing. Enough is enough. This is not about you. This is about helping others, solving other people's problems, answering other people's questions. Stop being as petty, okay, as materialistic, and making it about the sound of your voice. Enough is enough. Get on with it. Make a fucking video. In fact, make 10 fucking videos today and say, Kerwin, fuck you. I'm going to do video anyway. This is not about me. This is about the change, the movement, the creative, what it is that I want to bring to the world. Stop making it about you. Making it about everyone else.
All right. Next up, Steve Ballard.
Steve, how are you, buddy?
I need a high-performing team. I've got 10 reps. How do I get them to perform without micromanaging?
See, the thing with performance, it's not about micromanagement. You know, there's a great book that I'd encourage you to read called Drive, The Surprising Truth About What Really Motivates Us. You know, when it comes to high performance, you've got to understand the role that you play. You're the coach, okay? You're the leader. You set the pace and you hold the standards, and they will basically and essentially, like a parent would, you know, or like a child would to a parent, the children will model the behavior of the person that's leading them, okay? And, you know, oftentimes parents complain about their children's behavior. So, well, where did they learn it from? They're learning it from somewhere. They're observing this behavior somewhere. And as parents, you know, and as team leaders, as business owners, we've got to be very conscious of the example that we're setting, but also the standards which we hold, but also the environment that we actually create to extract high levels of performance. In order to get the most out of people, a couple of things that I'll tell you about. First things first is transparency around expectations, so that everybody is aware of what everyone is doing and what the expectations are. Just by virtue of documenting everyone's expectations on a daily basis, you will see a rise in performance of somewhere between 20 to 200%. Because all of a sudden now, people aren't just performing on the hope that they can get through the day. They're performing on the understanding that at the end of the day or the beginning of the next day, people are going to be reflecting on their results. People are going to be reflecting on their performance. And that by virtue creates this internal level of tension, like I was referring to before with Natasha. And that tension is required to produce performance. Great performance doesn't come in a comfort zone. Great performance doesn't come when, you know, you've got fucking snacks in the kitchen and you're high-fiving and you go, how are you, darling? Everything okay? You're having a great day. That's not how you create a high performance. Okay, how you create high performance is by setting the standard, but also creating challenge, but also creating a low level, healthy level of stress that produces a level of pressure that makes people want to break through. You will not succeed in a high performance or creating a high performance environment without creating some levels of tension, without creating some levels of friction. Now, this is the rub. This is where most people avoid high performance because they don't want to make other people feel uncomfortable. They don't want to feel uncomfortable themselves. They don't want to be seen as someone that, well, you're just bullying me. This is not about being a fucking bully. This is about holding a standard, creating an expectation. Okay, bullying and performance are not in the same category as far as I'm concerned. In the way that you execute performance is by holding the standard, setting the standard, having it high, but when people don't perform, you have tough conversations. You say the things that other people won't. You do the things that create levels of tension and low-level, healthy levels of stress that produce the fire, that produce the ignition that's required in order to light people up and get them to perform. Performance doesn't happen in isolation. There are a number of variables, and one of them is transparency around expectations. Okay, the second thing is around creating levels of pressure. You know, pressure isn't pressure to a champion, it's an opportunity to perform. But without pressure, there is no ignition. You know, an engine runs on two things. It runs on multiple things, but you need pressure, you need ignition, but you also need momentum. And then when you're creating momentum, you need to have a level of pressure that pushes people forward. But once that pressure builds to a level of combustion, you then need something that's going to ignite that. Whether it's a statement, whether it's a suggestion, whether it's a level of calling someone out or holding someone to a standard. You need something that's going to ignite that fuel that is combusted and pressurized to get that momentum and get that engine turning over. So look, it's not an easy task, but if you read Drive, The Surprising Truth About What Really Motivates Us, that'll give you a little bit of an indication. But my advice is create high levels of transparency, hold the standard, set the standard, be the pace leader, be the pace maker, and just fucking get on with it.
All right, Ellie Nader.
Ellie Nader in the house.
I am codependent, recently single, and I'm trying to learn to be by myself. But how?
Oh, what was her name?
Ellie.
Ellie, first of all, congratulations. I honour you. I adore you. I send you enormous levels of love for you being open and vulnerable to acknowledging the fact that you're codependent. Codependence is one of those things. It's a two-way street. It's a codependency. It's not a ISO dependency. You're not dependent in isolation. Typically takes two people to be addicted in a relationship. Both are enabling and meeting the needs of the other. But as someone who has been in codependent relationships, I can tell you, I'm speaking with a little bit of experience here. One of the best things that you can do now that you're recently single is start to spend time by yourself. Now, as a codependent, you're addicted to that co-relationship. So it's going to be very difficult for you to spend time in isolation. It's going to be difficult for you to spend time by yourself because you're going to feel drawn, you're going to feel attracted, you're going to feel the desire to connect, whether it be in an intimate fashion or just in a social fashion with other human beings, just so that you don't feel alone. But, I honestly believe that there is an enormous amount of wisdom in isolation. There's a reason that monks go and spend, in some cases, months or years or, decades in mountains by themselves in isolation, because that's where wisdom is born. And oftentimes when you look at codependence is almost like a yearning for wisdom to come out. But every time that wisdom comes to the surface, it creates a level of discomfort that can be nulled or it can be numbed by the presence of others who can distract our thoughts. One of the greatest lessons that I learned through the process of fasting for 7 to 10 days twice a year for the last 20 years, and that's basically 7 to 10 days a year, twice a year for the last 20 years, I'll just eat no food for 7 to 10 days. And what you learn is you learn how you use food when you have no food around. And because when I have food there, when food is present, if I'm feeling emotions, it's going to be very easy for me to eat and use it to numb and null and suppress my emotions. But when the food is removed, whatever I'm using food to treat, it comes to the surface so it can actually be worked on. Now, this is the beauty of codependence. When you actually allow yourself to take the time to be, whether it be in isolation or whether it be by yourself, whatever you use relationships for, to numb or to null or to soften or to medicate, that's going to start to rise to the surface. And when it starts to rise to the surface, then you're going to have the opportunity to work on those wounds. Oftentimes in life, we don't know where our wounds are, so we don't know how to treat them. And we're feeling around the dark looking for a wound, and then when we think we find one, we've got to put some balm on it. But oftentimes our wounds lie beneath the surface, and whatever we use at a surface level to hide them are the things that they're hidden in. So a relationship is one of those things. It's highly energetic, it's highly biological, it's highly chemical. There are so many factors that are triggered when we're in a proximity of a relationship, whether it be intimate or otherwise, that create this cascade of feeling in the body that can distract or detract or deflect you from whatever is coming up in those moments. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to medicate through a relationship, but it's not healthy if you continually do that over a long period of time. And so my advice is to you is spend some time by yourself, spend some time in isolation, get into some meditation, and then just become conscious of whatever is being brought up for you, and then give that as an opportunity to see that and recognize those wounds that need healing, and then do the work. Because ultimately, whatever's driving the codependence, in most cases, is going to be some form of a wound, some form of a trauma, some form of an attachment, or some form of a fear of abandonment. And it's not until you can bring that issue to the surface that you really get the opportunity to shine the light on it. And it's once you shine the light on it, you get to actually heal it. It's hard to heal something that you're oblivious to because you don't know it's there. So my advice is turn the lights on, have a little bit of a look, spend some time by yourself, get into meditation, and find solace in your own company. Just so you can add some tough love to it.
I want to acknowledge everyone who's watching. There's like 1,000 comments.
Man, you guys are going nuts. Yeah. So make sure if you're jumping on and you haven't told me where in the world you are, let me know where in the world you are. And just say hi and just give me lots of love hearts, because I'm a love junkie, baby. But yeah, you guys are awesome. We got anything else?
We sure do. Final one.
Last one.
Leroy VJ.
Leroy VJ.
I'm scared.
Sounds like a rapper. Leroy VJ. Yo.
I'm scared to leave my secure job and start my own business. What am I supposed to do?
Man the fuck up. And I don't mean that. And if you're a woman, I'd be saying woman the fuck up. Like, I'm not trying to be sexist here, but what I am trying to say is at some point in your life, you'll be running out of life and there'll be no life left, and you'll be thinking about all the things you wish you'd done. That's called fucking regret. Regret, as our man Gary would say, is like poison. It's like poison for the ether. It's poison for the mind. It's poison for the soul. You got one life, bro. And right now you're tiptoeing through life safely. You're tiptoeing through life hoping to get to death safely. You're afraid to start. You're afraid to get out there. My advice is, what is going to be the greater pain? The fear of actually doing something here, or the pain of the regret once you you move past the point of no return. Because sooner or later, you're going to reach the point of no return where you actually can't come back. And my advice is, once you're there, you're really fucked. You're pre-fucked right now. What's his name?
Lewis.
Lewis, you're pre-fucked right now. Because here's the thing. You've got a safe and you've got a comfortable job, but you know there's something else you want to do. Okay, but you're kind of torn. So you're not quite fucked yet, you're pre-fucked. And the way that you become completely fucked is by waiting so long that you get to the point where there's no longer anything you can do about it, and then you're fucked. Then you're post-fucked. And once you're post-fucked, you're fucked. And there's nothing you can do about that. There's a lot of dropping in those naughty words, isn't there? But my point being is, now is the time, okay? Depending on your obligations and your responsibilities, now is the time. But again, just to add some context here, but you might have 3 kids and a mortgage, and you're barely making ends meet with the mortgage repayments and putting food on the table and with the comfortable job you've got. Should you quit that situation and get into a business? No. Start a side hustle. Use your after hours time to really start to build something up. Okay, but if you're in a situation where you've got a level of savings, you've got a level of security, okay, you've got a bit of a runway, and you know this is something you're passionate about, you've got a proof of concept, then my advice is bite the bullet and just fucking go all in, okay? Or at the very least, start it as a side hustle and just do something. Just don't sit there and fucking wonder what if. Because honestly, you're going to get to a point where it'll be too late to do anything, and then you'll be completely screwed. My advice is don't wait until it's too long. Do something now.
Check this out. We're live on
We're live
Instagram.
on live. Oh, we're live on live.
Inception.
Live on live. Okay, so for those of you on Facebook, if you're not on Instagram, jump over to Instagram right now. Hello, Instagram. Wow, I'm different. I'm like far redder on Instagram. If you like the last 10 minutes, we're going to do like a tough love lightning rounds.
Yeah.
So I'm basically going to say fuck a lot in very short periods of time and beat people around the head until they're senselessly willing to do whatever it takes. What's happened? We all good?
We're all good.
All right, so for those of you on Facebook, jump over to Instagram right now. Come over to Instagram. Come on over. Come on, let's go. Let's walk over together. Let's like, We're walking over. This is me walking over to Instagram.
Okay.
All right, okay, bye Facebook. Love you lots. Miss you bits. See you on the other side. Life's good. Honestly, my hair is like 10 feet tall. This is tough love. So a couple of things. First things first, tell me where in the world you are. Make sure you say hello. Hit the love heart button at least 50 times. Share the love. Sharing is caring. And thirdly, or fourthly, or wherever I'm at, this is tough love lightning round, where I'm basically going to answer some questions and solve some problems really fucking fast. So whatever your biggest issues are, biggest problems, biggest excuses, this is where I'm going to come and slap you around a bit, create a bit of attention, coach you in a hard fashion to get you focused on the things that you need to in order to, create some better results in your life. So without any further ado, I'm going to throw over to Maddie. Let me know. Oh, we've got Chicago, Brisbane, the House Factory, San Diego. Natalie, is that Natalie Jill Fett from San Diego? Love to you, gorgeous. We've got Kodamika, New York. This is Ohio. We've got Tammy Papa. Hello from Idaho, Washington. This is a hard thing about Instagram. Everyone's names is like PZ129. All right, what have we got here? Cincinnati? Is that in Ohio? Wherever you guys are. Okay, let's go. Oop, hang on. All right, go, Maddie.
First up, Fitzy's 1919. Teaching, how do I not be passive and more assertive?
How do I not be passive and be more assertive?
Yeah.
Be more fucking assertive. Honestly. But be assertive around the right things, because people who typically aren't assertive often have an air of neediness about them. And, when we eradicate neediness, we focus on 3 things. Number 1, focus on your strengths. Number 2, what is it?
Want nothing.
Want nothing. So number 1, want nothing. Number 2, focus on your strength. Number 3, be willing to walk away from the social encounter if you can't add any value to it. So when it comes to being assertive, I think the biggest challenge that most people have when they're learning to be assertive is they be assertive in the wrong areas, in the wrong context. So because when we talk about any skill, this is what I'm alluding to, any skill is developed through practice. So if you want to become more assertive, what do you think you need to do, Maddie? Practice being assertive. So the way that you practice being assertive is by being assertive in the right context where you actually have some substance to you where you can actually substantiate your levels of assertiveness. Because there's no point you practicing being assertive around health. If you're like 50 kilos overweight and you've got a whole range of health issues and you're trying to be assertive with your kids and telling them to eat healthy when you're not even fucking doing that yourself. So it's important that when you're practicing any skill, first of all, any skill can be acquired through practice. But when it comes to practicing any skill, the more confidence we can get, the more The better we are at what we do, the faster we build confidence. And so that's why when you're practicing assertiveness, practice being assertive in the areas where you've actually got some strength, and that will help you build confidence faster, so you can get to the point where assertiveness isn't something that's it's a want, it's something that you do, and it's something you practice on a regular basis. Just fucking start. Just start asserting yourself, but do it in an intelligent, kind, and meaningful way.
All right, Oak and This Soul Kitchen.
Hey, Oak.
I run workshops. How do I get more than 4 people to rock up when I advertise heaps?
Stop fucking advertising. Start publishing content. Start adding fucking value to people's lives. What the fuck is wrong with you? Can you not see what's going on? We live in a world right now that advertising no longer works in the way that it used to work anymore. Okay, you've got to start understanding direct response media, direct sales media, direct media doesn't have the same effect in a social environment. And if you're trying to build an event, if you're trying to put people in a room, then you've got to understand the social aspects of what it is you're trying to do. Social content, utility content that is useful in nature versus ad content is going to be what is going to drive and create a movement that will then allow the direct response content to be converted off the back end very easily. See, the reality is for most people, the reason that they don't know how to use social media correctly is because they're using social media as a direct response media. They're using it as a direct marketing media. Social media is what it says on the fucking box. It's a social media which is driven by connections, trust, and relationships. And the way that we build connections, trust, and relationships is by being utilitarian in nature, by offering content that is of support, that is going to help, that it will solve, that will answer, that will educate, inspire, make people laugh, and that will then, by virtue of helping people in a utilitarian way, it will create a connection, a bond, which will then enable you to layer on top of that more connections, more exposures, which will then ultimately build trust. So then when you drop direct response in front of them, then when you drop ads in front of them, they like you, they connect with you, they trust you, they respect you, they will respond to you. The reason people don't respond to your ads is because they're skeptical. They don't know you, they don't trust you. You could be some fucking, sleazy scumbag, foosball magician who's going to make their money disappear. How do you solve that problem? Solve their problems for them in advance. But if I do that, then they're not going to want me. Yes, they're going to want you more. Just fucking do that. Just listen to what I said 10 times and just do that, please.
Tanya Maynard 2.
Hey, Tanya.
Bad managers. Why the F am I still working here? Why do they put shit on good people?
Suck the fuck up and leave. Suck it up. Honestly, what do you want me to tell you? What example do you want to set for your friends? What example do you want to set for your family? What example do you have kids? Do you want to set for your example that it's okay for people to treat you like shit? Unless, of course, you're the fucking victim here and you're the one that's full of shit and everyone else around you is the one that's trying to make you aware of it and you're sitting there fucking oblivious and going, well, fuck, I'm just being managed badly. There's every possibility you're the problem. And I don't say that to be mean. I say that to make you think, because in every situation there's truth. When someone gives me harsh feedback, I'm looking for the truth in that. And I'm not just going to go, well, no, that's bullshit. If someone says something harsh to me, my first response is, where's the truth in that? So my advice is look at the situation in its whole. Don't look at yourself in isolation. If you've got a real fucking problem and it's true, fucking leave. What do you need? What do you want? My permission? You don't need my fucking permission. You're not my child. Even if you were my child, you wouldn't be needing my permission. Just fucking leave. Okay, because there are plenty of organizations out there that value good quality talent that don't need to be micromanaged, that can perform at high levels. But my question to you is, and here's what I've learned, 98% of people who think they're a high performer aren't fucking high performers in the first place. So don't delude yourself into thinking that you've got something special unless you really fucking do it. And if you do, then leave and find a place that will nurture you and care about you the way that you deserve. Because honestly, life's too short to do things that you don't fucking love to do with people you don't love doing it with.
Hanson 2524. I love my job, but it doesn't pay enough. Ugh.
Yeah. What do you want me to tell you? Either find a job that does pay you enough, or find a way to reduce your expenses to a level that enables you to get by, or get a side hustle, or do fucking something. My advice is just don't do nothing, okay? Find a way. Here's maybe something you can do. Sit down with the business owner or your manager and find a way where you can identify measurable value that you can bring to the organization that will have a direct consequence on revenue for the business that you can share in. Because if there's some way that you can add additional revenue to the business and you can frame that and show that and demonstrate and then prove that and you've got the skills and the talents and the ability to do that, then the business owner would be in many respects not right of mind to at least consider the option of providing you the ability to earn more money by adding more value. It's not a question of time, it's a question of value. If you can add more value, then most business owners would be willing to at least entertain the conversation around how you can get paid more. It's not that big a fucking task. It's not that big an issue. Just my advice is find the angle. And if that's not the right angle, find a side hustle. Create an Amazon business, do some, flip some furniture, whatever. There's so many different ways to make money. Honestly, you don't need my permission or nor my direction, but I'm happy to be the person that just says, just fucking do something. Because honestly, doing nothing, it creates a bad energy between you and the job that you have, because you're going to be looking at the job that you have and as it being not enough. And there's nothing worse than feeling like something's not enough. There is so much love, there is so much money, there is so much of everything, there is an abundance of everything all around you. The question is what are you tuned into? What are you dialed into? And what are you able to do in a way that enables others to have more, that will be of significant enough value for them to want to give you what it is that you need to live the life that you want? Answer those questions and you'll be fine. Everyone's fine. Is that it?
That is it.
That's fucking tough love. That was pretty soft, tough love today. It was pretty gentle.
You had one or two.
I had one or two rants. If you haven't seen my Facebook rant, I did a pretty fucking mean Facebook rant earlier.
Being pre-fucked is good.
Pre-fucked. If you don't know what being pre-fucked is, it's being pre-fucked is before you're actually is being fucked before you're actually fucked, and being post-fucked is being fucked and then not being able to do anything about it. But if you'd like more information on the difference between being pre-fucked and post-fucked, please get onto my Facebook page and check out my live. Too much blasphemy. What's going on here? First of all, thank you guys all so much for watching. It never gets old. I appreciate you guys so much. I really do. From the bottom of my heart to the bottom of your heart, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for following, for every like, comment, share. Like every bit of good juju that comes my way, I'm very grateful. Thank you very much. And, do I do a question of the day or anything?
No, not really.
Nothing?
No.
Keep an eye out for more tough loves coming your way. Peace out. Love you guys.